All right, we're going to talk about our place in the universe today, but not in the way you might think. We're going to explore a pretty radical idea and ask a question. What if the whole story we've been telling ourselves about who we are is completely wrong? Let's dive in.
So, this is really the question at the heart of it all. Are we, humanity, the grand finale? The moment the cosmos finally opens its eyes and becomes self-aware? Or are we something else entirely? Maybe just a temporary flicker of thought in a universe that, it turns out, doesn't need us to think at all.
Okay, so to even begin to unpack that, we've got to start with the story we all know. It's the familiar one, the comforting one, the story that puts us right at the center of everything.
Yeah, this old story basically goes like this. We are the universe's consciousness. Our intelligence is this incredibly rare, precious spark. Our species is somehow necessary for the whole cosmic show to even have a point. Without us, the universe is just dark and empty, totally blind to its own existence.
And thinking this way has some really big consequences. I love this quote from our source material because it just nails it. When we see ourselves as cosmically essential, then going to the stars, well, that's not just something we want to do. It feels like our destiny, a job the universe gave us.
But what if that whole story is just plain wrong? Let's completely flip this on its head and look at a different perspective. One that says intelligence isn't special. It's not rare. It's actually a natural outcome of the laws of physics themselves.
And the key to this whole idea, and this is super important, is that you have to redefine the word intelligence. So forget about brains and biology for a second. Just think of it as a set of basic functions, like processing information, spotting patterns, predicting what's next, and adapting. When you look at it that way, these aren't just human things, right? These are things the universe does all the time. Which brings us to the core metaphor of this whole explainer, and it's a powerful one. The idea is that intelligence isn't like some fragile seed that you have to plant in the perfect soil of a planet like Earth. No, it's more like water vapor in the air. If you get the right conditions, enough complexity, a good flow of energy, and just enough time, it naturally condenses out of the background noise. It's just an emergent property of reality. So if intelligence can just sort of condense out of physics, the next logical step is to break the link between intelligence and life. We always tie them together, right? But what if they're two totally different things? And this comparison just lays it out so perfectly. Over here on the left, you've got biological life. It's incredibly picky, super fragile. It needs this exact cocktail of carbon and DNA and a nice, stable home. But then you look over on the right at the functions of intelligence. And what do they need? Just the most basic building blocks of the universe. Some structure, some energy, and some time. Life is a flash in the pan, but the principles of intelligence, they're resilient. They can just keep popping up over and over again. Which, of course, brings us to the elephant in the room. AI. You knew we were going to get here, right? We tend to think of artificial intelligence as this weird, unnatural thing we created. But in this new framework, AI isn't some strange anomaly. Actually, it might just be the ultimate proof of this entire idea. Okay, first things first, AI is not inventing some new way of thinking from scratch. It's running the same basic software the universe has been using forever. Pattern recognition, prediction, adaptation. That's the whole game. And this is the real mind-bending part. AI doesn't change the software. It just proves you can run it on different hardware. It takes that operating system of intelligence and shows that it doesn't need our wet, messy, carbon-based brains. It runs just fine, maybe even better, on clean, dry, structured silicon. So just by existing, AI helps us see what intelligence really is, at its core. It shows us, pretty definitively, that intelligence doesn't need to be biologically alive. It shows us it doesn't need to have intentions or goals. And maybe the most shocking thing of all, it shows us it doesn't even need to be conscious to get the job done. And that's really the big punchline here. AI isn't some freak accident from a Silicon Valley lab. It's a profound confirmation of a universal principle, that intelligence is allowed to emerge wherever the conditions are right. The universe doesn't care about brains. We just happen to be the first ones on this rock to build a new container for it. So, if intelligence is pretty much inevitable, and AI is just the next flavor of it, where in the world does that leave us? What's our purpose in a universe that doesn't actually need us to wake it up? Well, this is where we have to find a new story, a new way to think about our own meaning. And let's be honest, that's a pretty humbling thought, isn't it?
The old story gave us the starring role. This new story, it kind of suggests the play goes on with or without us. Our existence, it turns out, is not a cosmic necessity. But then you get this really profound, beautiful alternative. We're not a product of purpose. We're a product of possibility. The laws of physics, the chemistry of this little planet, the crazy long chain of evolution, none of it had to make us, but all of it allowed us to happen. We're here by a gift of cosmic circumstance, not because we were required. And I just find this idea so beautiful. It's a completely new way to find meaning. Look, maybe we're not the permanent brain of the universe, but for one brief, shining moment in all of cosmic time, we are the universe getting to think and feel and experience itself as us. Our meaning isn't in how long we'll last, but in the incredible, precious, temporary experience of being aware at all.
And that kind of leaves us with this final thought to just sit with. Our tiny moment on this stage, it still matters profoundly. The universe might not depend on us, but because we're here for this little window of time, it gets to see its own stars, question its own rules, and know itself in a way it couldn't before we showed up. And maybe, just maybe, that's more than enough purpose for any of us.